Hey guys, welcome to my kitchen. Another big exciting day in my kitchen. Where are we going? I'm thinking I'm going to take you guys to Tuscany today. Does that sound fun? I mean, it's beautiful, and the rolling hills and the wine and the air, how it it comes off the sea. Oh, it's just such a beautiful place. So let's go there. There's a great salad. It originated certainly in Tuscany, certainly served all over Italy, and now many places in the United States. So we're going to make a Tuscan bread salad, and really the story behind this type of salad is that of food preservation. What you would do, and we touched on this on a few of our recipes, they would actually make bread deliberately to make the bread stale. So they would have these huge bread ovens in the villages, and they would make loaves and loaves of bread, and you'd put it in a dry, cool space, and you'd literally want the bread to stale, and that way it would actually preserve the bread so you could eat it later. All right, so let's get going. Let me go over ingredients quickly. One, you're gonna have tomatoes. So here I've got about 3 pounds, 4 good size heritage tomatoes. Now you guys can get any kind of tomato you want, but one of the main ingredients here is really gonna be your tomatoes. Secondly is gonna be your bread, your pane. So in this case, you're gonna take a whole loaf of bread. Now this is not fully stale. It's starting to go stale, but I'm gonna show you how we're gonna stale it. I don't know if that's a proper word, but we're gonna make it stale here in a few minutes. Another main ingredient in this is gonna be an onion. So commonly it's served with a red onion, so we're gonna use 1 large red onion. Now we wanna get into some herbs, so you're gonna want some thyme. So here I'm gonna have about a tablespoon, it's fresh thyme. Remember, if you add dry ingredients, they're twice as concentrated, so half as much. So, half of a tablespoon if it's dry, a whole tablespoon if it's fresh. That's fresh thyme, and thyme is very earthy. It's mild. It's almost like a delicate flavor. It goes great with fish and certainly fresh vegetables. We're going to have some oregano, so I've got some fresh oregano here. Oh, the aroma of that is just delicious. So again, earthy, a little bit more herb than you're going to get from your thyme. This is going to be some basil. So in this case, certainly the most aromatic of your herbs, so delicious. Here we're going to use some arugula. Now arugula or lettuce, some form of parsley, a flat Italian parsley, that was really common to add a little extra bite, a little green to it. So again, that is still pretty common in Tuscany for this. Next we're going to add some garlic. We're going to add about 3 cloves, depending on their size, maybe 4. Next, we're gonna need a really key ingredient in this. This is critical, and that's gonna be vinegar. So we're gonna use a balsamic. So I've seen some recipes call for a white vinegar. That'll work fine. I've seen some others call for a red wine vinegar. Balsamic is just a delicious, much more hearty flavor in the vinegar, and it's gonna bring that old kind of rich, rustic flavor, and it's really common in southern Italy. And we're going to use probably 4 to 6 tablespoons, and I'll show you how to add that strategically at different times as we're putting the salad together. We're going to need some salt. Today we're going to go with some flat Sicilian sea salt, which is just so delicious. It's going to be a little softer, it's briny, it's going to be a little bit more earthy. Here we've got pepper, fresh ground, only way to go. We're looking at using about 1 full tablespoon throughout the whole salad. Next, we're going to get in some cheese. Now, again, for the purist, mozzarella cheese is traditionally not added to this. Now, this is something that I've had many times, depending on season, where you're at, but certainly in our kitchen, my Nona, Caroline, and my mom would always add some pieces of shredded mozzarella. I like that it adds just a little creaminess, a little softness to it. Next, an important ingredient in this salad is going to be olive oil. So I'm going to need something, it's an Italian recipe, right? So I want Italian olive oil. I want something delicious, hearty, peppery, earthy, grassy, something from Puglia. Best olive oil in the world comes from Puglia. Where would I go? Where would I get it? I know where I would go. So hey, listen, anybody new to our channel, huge shout out, by the way, to all our subscribers and people part of the Boreal Familia here. I really appreciate those people that like and subscribe our videos. So anyone new to our channel, we own a farm in Italy. It's just above the heel. We co-op with a whole group of farms to bring us some of the best, most delicious, extra virgin Italian olive oil in the world. I have 2 boys, Vito and Joe. I named the company after them. I know you're thinking, oh my gosh, how do I get my hands on it? I would be thinking the same thing too. So hit in the link description below, or go to my Facebook page or my website, Cooking Italian with Joe. Click buy it now. We've got a discount. You can grab a group of bottles. We'll drop ship it right to your house. I like to think of it as taking a trip to Italy right in a bottle. One of the things you want to do is you want to get that oven preheated to about 400 degrees because we're going to want to stale the bread, right? We're going to break up the bread and heat it up, and we want to make it stale. You're certainly going to need a bowl to serve the dish, and again, you're going to want something deeper. So traditionally, it's served in a large, deep dish or deep bowl. Next, you're going to need a couple of bowls for mixing. So you can use the same one. Makes it a little easier if you have two. So I've got a large one for the bread, and I've got another one for the tomatoes. Olive wood spatula, mix things around. Last, guys, I'm going to want a cookie sheet with parchment. Makes cleanup easier. Okay, first things first, I want to get the tomatoes going because, again, we're using the tomatoes as the liquid to soften our bread. Simple stuff, guys. I want to take my tomato, and I want to basically cube it up. So think about a size that you're putting in your mouth. So I'm going to cut this in half, cut it again in half, and then I'm going to cut it in chunks. I don't want it too small, but I want a nice large piece that's going to be chewable. So that's going to be perfect. I'm going to go ahead and prep my tomatoes just like that. Guys, as I'm making the tomatoes, I'm going to take my stainless steel bowl and I'm going to put all my tomato cuttings right in it. So I've got my tomatoes in the bowl all set. Next thing I want to do, guys, is my herbs. So I'm going to take my oregano. Can you guys get the aroma, that perfuma of oregano? Oh. And I love the fresh herbs. They're just so the way to go if possible. Many of the grocery stores you can grab them and it's great. And and then what I do, anything you don't use, just hang up inside your kitchen and dry them right out. And then you'll have some dry herbs, which are great as well. Next, I've got my thyme, so I'm just going to pull it back off as best as I can. As for the basil, I'm not going to use the basil because I want to use the basil when it's fresh. I'm setting to the side the fresh basil and the arugula. Next, guys, I'm going to throw these herbs in my bowl with the tomatoes. Next, guys, I'm grabbing garlic. So I got 4 cloves. I'm going to grab a large one and a medium-sized one. And I'm going to go ahead and get these ready to go. So I'm going to use my garlic press and my bowl of tomatoes. Put my garlic right in there and give it a squeeze. Vampire repellent right there. Oh, that's beautiful. The goal here is to extract a lot of liquid from the tomatoes because it's the tomato juice, the liquid from the tomatoes that we want to flavor the bread with. So that's why I'm not adding the cucumber because I don't want the liquid of the cucumber. I want the liquid of the tomatoes, and that's more traditional. Now I'm going to add a teaspoon of salt to the tomatoes. So I'll give you a quick tip, like a caprese or any other salad that has especially watery vegetables like a cucumber or tomato. Don't add your salt until the end because if not, it becomes a bowl of soup, right? But in this case, it's exactly what we want. I'm going to add here a good teaspoon or more of fresh ground pepper. And now I want to stir this up. I want the salt to be equally distributed here because the salt is going to do its magic here in a minute. Beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and set that aside. Now, guys, I want to get my bread ready to go. So I've got my entire loaf of bread, and I'm looking to cut this up into cubes. And remember, it's rustic Tuscan, so everything doesn't need to be exactly the same size. So I'm going to cut it up into some cubes. Now we're going to take our other stainless steel bowl and we're going to put the bread in that bowl. Now I want to flavor the bread. So the first thing I want to add to the bread is the oil. And why do I do it in that order? The oil is going to soak into the bread, but it's also going to allow everything else to stick to it. And with the olive oil, I'm going to drizzle now over the top of the bread about a tablespoon first. And now you want to give it a good stir. One more drizzle. Give it a stir. Now we're all mixed up. Now I want to add my garlic, chew my bread. So I'm going to use my press. And I'm going to use those 2 cloves fully. Now I'm going to put some salt. So I'm probably going to use about a half of a teaspoon. Next I'm going to use some fresh ground pepper, a good teaspoon. Give it a stir. Because I want the garlic, the salt, the pepper, the oil, everything to get distributed equally. Guys, my bread is done. So I'm going to go ahead and put it right out on my cookie sheet. And now what you want to do here is you want to get everything equally distributed on the tray. Guys, my bread is done. Oh, the aroma of that. So I got to make this stale. I got to make it crispy. I want to make it maybe even a little bit brown, but I definitely want it dry because the drier it is, I want all that moisture out of there. I want to soak up that juice we're making from the tomatoes. All right, so I'm going to pop this in the oven, 400 to 425 degrees, probably about 10 minutes for sure, and then check it every few minutes. And depending on the personality of your oven, you might have to turn it around and check it out or mix it up a little bit. Bread's getting toasty inside the oven. I've got my tomatoes marinating right now. While that's marinating, I got to get my other vegetables together. First, I'm going to get my cucumber going. Again, guys, it's Tuscan, it's rustic, it's beautiful. It's something that you grab right out of the garden. So I like to go down half, and then I like to cut them down into pieces about 1/4 inch, just like that. Cucumbers are set. Next is my onion. And then the onion, guys, traditionally, just cut this in half And what we want are rings. We want rings of onion, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go nice and thin. We want a really thin cut, about the width of the knife. Okay, I've got my onion and I've got my cucumber ready to go. Onion's now in the tomatoes, and I'm gonna give it a stir. Now you're gonna see how that tomato juice in there, it's beautiful. And now I'm gonna add my balsamic. So I'm gonna add about 3 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar to my mix. Now the vinegar is gonna do a few things. It's gonna extract some flavor from the tomatoes. But we want that vinegar and liquid to absorb into the bread, so that's going to be really important. The other magic of the vinegar is it'll actually cook. The acetic acid will cook down the tomato a little bit, certainly the onion and the garlic. So it softens their flavor and brings out a little bit more flavor in any of the vegetables that you're going to put in here. I'm going to go ahead and set this aside. Spend 15 minutes. My bruschetta, right? My toasted, if you will, stale bread. Just gorgeous. So that's what we're looking for, golden brown, crusted, right? That's perfect. That's exactly what I want. All the moisture's out of that. A couple of tips that make these come out great. Now I took my parchment, laid it right across the counter off that cookie sheet. So all my bread now is just cooling down perfect. And I want it around room temperature again before we add that liquid. What we're gonna do is we're gonna grab one of these colanders. These are great because I can extract all the juice out of there that I want. Because again, I don't want the salad to be soupy. What I want is I want the liquid from those tomatoes, that juice, and I want it to be absorbed into the bread. And that's what's gonna give you that delicious, true, authentic flavor of this Tuscan bread salad. Another great tip to make this salad come out absolutely molto deleccio is when you subscribe to the channel. There's a red button, there's a notification bell, and then there's a thumbs up. So when you thumbs up our video, boy, if you really like what we're doing, and I hope you do, it really helps share our videos with other people and shares that authentic Italian cooking and these recipes and dishes so other people and other families can make it. Notification bell, geez, trips, recipes. I got a big trip coming to Italy. Anything on our blog, it'll come right to your notification box. And the most important part is, hey, making you part of the family. When you subscribe, and a huge shout out and a big thank you to all those people that have already subscribed to our channel. I'll tell you, it means the world to me. And like I said, hey, it makes you part of the family. You know what I'm saying? And I know you guys are lovers of authentic extra virgin Italian olive oil. I think you already ordered it. I can hear it being shipped right now. Okay, so let me show you a great tip on how to get the juice out of the tomatoes. Make life easy. Take the bowl that you did the bread in earlier. Take your colander. Take your tomato salad. Just dump it right in there. So guys, just let this set for a couple of minutes. Now take your bowl, your tomato salad, put everything back in the bowl. Perfect. And now guys, you're gonna take your bread off your parchment paper, and then what you're gonna do immediately is start stirring up your bread. What you're going for now is you want your bread to absorb into that liquid. You just take your time, let it soak in, give it a nice slow steady stir, and you're gonna just keep stirring until all of your liquid has been absorbed. Now I'm gonna let this set off to the side for a few minutes. And now on the tomato salad, I'm gonna take some Vito and Joe's, and I'm gonna put 3 to 4 tablespoons of olive oil right on the salad. Add 2 to 3 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar. Add my cucumbers. On my basil, again, it's Tuscany, it's rustic. And I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna actually shred it. I'm gonna tear it apart. And while everything's in there, I'm gonna give it a beautiful stir. And real simple, I've got 2 things to add. I'm gonna add my bread. I'm now gonna add my arugula. Now I'm gonna grab a couple of my spatulas. I'm gonna give it a nice gentle stir. I'm gonna take my salad, I'm gonna go ahead and fill up my bowl. I know what you're thinking you forgot your mozzarella. No, I didn't. I always like to do the mozzarella on the top at the end. And now guys, just finish with a drizzle of olive oil. Guys, how delicious does that look? Let's divvy up a serving. So I want that perfect bite. I tell you, you can really get the aroma of the vinegar, which I love, the garlic, the onion. Let me get some of those herbs. I got the bread, gotta get a cucumber. See, now the cucumbers are nice and fresh because we put them in at the end. And I want 1 piece of the mozzarella with the onion. There's a perfect bite right there, huh? You ready? Smell-o-vision, taste-o-vision, share-o-vision, cooking Italian with Joe. There it is, baby. I'll tell you what hits me first: the aroma of the vinegar and the tomato, and that's essential because that's the authenticity of this type of salad, that bread salad, because it's really started with stale bread dipped in vinegar. Good job. That tang of the vinegar, which I love, the olive oil, the garlic, all the herbs, and I love the bread because it's still got its body. You get crunch, you get texture with the bread, but then you also get that kind of soft, soggy part of the bread, which is just delicious. And you get that mozzarella at the end, which just adds that little extra treat of cream. It screams freshness and crispness and tanginess in your mouth, you know. It's like a salad explosion in your mouth. And the bread, It's just so delicious. Like I said, with the flavoring in the bread that we added, with the garlic and the salt and the olive oil and the pepper, and there's so much happening inside your mouth. You know, there's so many different flavors. You got the bitter and the salt and the pepper and the earth. What a delicious salad. Understandably why it's a salad that has defined Tuscany and many regions of Italy. It's simple, it's fun, it's easy, it's healthy, it's delicious. Guys, thanks so much for joining me in my kitchen today for a delicious Tuscan bread salad, Panzanella. Now remember, hit that subscribe button, the notification bell, and the thumbs up. Hey, make you part of the family. A huge shout out to our existing family members right now. Remember, click the link above or below, grab yourself a few bottles of Vito and Joe's extra virgin Italian olive oil. We'll drop ship it right to your house. Truly a trip to Italy right in a bottle. Hey guys, closing our video with our most important tip. Don't forget, weekly, a couple times a month, get around the table with your family, tell stories, burn things, have some fun, celebrate your heritage. Most important to me, guys, set some traditions. They'll last you a lifetime. I know they did for me. Hey, from my kitchen to yours. Until next week, mwah, buon appetito.